In fact, you need to do that anytime you're working on some new kind of project. Why does it matter? Why should we do anything? Why do we think it's important to try and get more women professors? Who cares if there's only 9%? When we ask ourselves why, we sort of get the vision, we articulate the vision together, and then the how part of it is actually much easier. So for gender equality, for gender balance, why is it important? Why is it worth investing in? I've been thinking about these issues for several years now, and I find that it's actually not very hard at all to answer those questions. In fact, there's really only 2 arguments for making an investment in improving gender balance in your organization. And they're easy to remember. The first one is that it's the right thing to do, and the second one is that it's a smart thing to do. Well, let me say a little bit more about those. When I say that it's the right thing to do, I'm thinking about kind of traditional arguments based on social justice. It's about fairness. It's about men and women having equal opportunities. It's about making sure that young girls see role models in all sorts of different parts of society, and they know that they too have opportunities there. It's actually about culture change. It's about things as simple as, or maybe as complicated as, gender balance in work at home, and how those kinds of culture changes can be influenced by this kind of focus on gender equality work. These kinds of arguments are important, but I'm not sure that we can go much further with them, at least in Scandinavia. They're so widely accepted. We all agree that this is how it should be. We think that we're working in that direction. There's not much new that we can say. So I've been trying to think about how to say something new, how to get a different perspective. And that's where the other argument comes in, the argument that it's smart. It turns out that gender balance, especially at the top of an organization, has a significant impact on the performance of the organization. When we have gender balance, or let's say over a tipping point of about 30% women at the top, that makes the work environment better for everyone. Research shows that people are more satisfied working in organizations where there's gender balance in the leadership. Research also shows that when people are more satisfied, they're more productive. In short, if you invest in gender balance in your leadership, you're going to get more satisfied employees who do their jobs better. And we're all interested in that. In the particular context of universities, there's some other recent research that's come out that's really quite fascinating. It's research that identifies a new way of measuring group intelligence. So the idea is that when groups are given challenging cognitive tasks to perform, what are the factors that make a difference? And it turns out that having women in your group makes the group perform better on those kinds of cognitive challenges. Well, if you think about typical workplaces where there are serious cognitive challenges to be solved, the university surely has to be high on that list. So if we care about creating research groups, for example, that are going to perform better, we should also care about group intelligence. And there's one more factor I'd like to mention in connection with the claim that it's smart to make an investment in improving gender balance in your university. And that's related to the notion of gendered science. What do I mean by gendered science? Well, I mean scientific questions, research questions in which gender perspectives are included, in which investigations into new medicines test those medicines on both men and women, which investigations on the structure of seat belts also take account of the fact that sometimes women are pregnant and 3-point seat belts might be less than optimal in that kind of situation. Now, when I say gendered science here, I could point out that if you're interested in gendered science, there's a wonderful new website called the Gendered Innovations website. This website is produced by colleagues at Stanford, and it actually gives a whole slew of case studies where taking account of gender differences in research questions in science, in health and medicine, and engineering gives higher quality results for all of us. What I think, but what I don't know, is that gender-balanced research groups are more likely to introduce these factors into their research questions. That connection, as I say, has a certain intuitive appeal, but I don't know if it's true. So if any of you out there are looking for PhD projects or projects for your PhD students, trying to find that connection, I think, would be very, very interesting.